What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about my prediction for the next title challenger in every weight class and how I think they're going to go against the current champion. Pretty much every single division has the next title fight lined up. Maybe not booked, but we pretty much know who the number one contender is, or if the number one contender isn't clear, there could still be a title fight booked. So there's really only one division, which is middleweight, where we're not 100% sure who's going to challenge for the belt next. But I'm pretty confident. Obviously, Bantamweight's booked for this weekend. We've got the Featherweight title booked. We've got the heavyweight title basically booked. We've got the light heavyweight title booked. Everyone kind of knows Shavkat's going to be next. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about my prediction for the title challenger against the champion in these coming title fights for each division. I'll be giving my predictions. I'll be talking about how likely it is that I think the challenger could win. I'll be kind of like ranking them based off who I think's got the best chance or not. But yeah, let's start with the flyweight division. First up, we got Kai Asakura, who I believe is going to be challenging for the flyweight title next. Now, this is not on the books. This is not confirmed or has been announced, but I would be surprised if this is not where they go. We've already got Royval versus Tyra booked for a fight night main event. We've already got Moreno versus Albazi booked for a fight night main event. Kai Kara-France just won a fight, and I was getting messages from my source. I was getting information, and it's kind of been rumoured that the UFC is going to do Asakura versus Pantoja for quite a while, even before the Kai Kara-France Erceg fight. So unless they for some reason decided last minute, no, we aren't going to give Kai Asakura a title shot and he's just going to fight no one, and we're going to do Kai Kara-France for the belt, I do think it's pretty obvious Asakura is going to be challenging for the belt next. If you don't know who Kai Asakura is, because he hasn't fought in the UFC, he was the previous Ryzen champion at Bantamweight, but he has fought a large portion of his career at Flyweight. He's fought a lot of good Flyweights outside the UFC, like Manel Cap, Kyoji Horiguchi, and he's a very good fighter. Now, I do think that Pantoja is going to beat him. I don't think we're going to see a guy outside this is not me discrediting Kai Sakura, but I just don't think we're going to see a guy come outside from the UFC and their first fight, they're going to win the belt. That just doesn't seem like something that's going to happen. But I do think my prediction is this is going to be the last time we see Pantoja defend the belt successfully, because I think the fight after this, he's going to fight one Tatsuro Taira, and I do think he's going to lose. If he fights Ramiro Albazi after this fight, then maybe he wins that, but I think Tyra is going to be the guy to dethrone him, and I think we're going to see Tyra. I think it's going to end up looking quite similar to like a more BJJ-focused version of Woodley versus Usman. And what I mean by that is like two heavy grapplers, Woodley and Usman, more heavy wrestlers there. We've got two heavy BJJ guys here with Pantoja and Tyra. And I think that it's going to be like one of those ones where, no one's out wrestling Woodley, and then someone does. Or like, no one's going to out grapple Pantoja until someone does, and I think it's going to be Tyra. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. I just think Kai Sakura, he's good, but I just don't think he's got the quite same level of competition. I don't think he's been in the spots. Who's to say he doesn't just show up nervous as fuck and just look mid? And also, like, he's got losses on his record. It's not like he's just on a tear, just smoking everyone. He's 30, so he's in his prime. He's definitely at the age where he could beat Pantoja, and Pantoja's 34. I don't love that. But yeah, Kai Sakura, he's never been submitted, so that's good for him. I'll give him that. I don't think he would get submitted. I think he would lose a pretty clear decision. But like, Juan Archuleta, won by TKO in 2023. He hasn't fought this year. So this is going to be like this is probably going to happen end of the year. I'm assuming maybe as the MSG co-main event, or maybe as the UFC Macau card main event for that. Maybe, I'm not sure. But like Yuki Mataya, like he's got some good wins on the resume, I guess. Like, but he lost to Kyoji. He's lost to Kyoji. He lost to Hiroshima Agubugu. He's beat some guy. He also beat the Hiroshima guy. But yeah, like he has a win over Kyoji in the first round. But he has a win over Cap and a loss to Cap. So he's 1-1 with both Kyoji Horiguchi and Manel Cap, which are the best two opponents that he's fought. But I just don't think he's going to be good enough for Pantoja. He's got power. He's got KO wins on the record. 13 out of 21 of his wins by KO. But I don't know, Pantoja, you're not KOing him. You just have to, like, school him on the feet, I feel like, and stuff the takedowns. I don't think Asakura is going to do that. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Pantoja. I would give Asakura, like, a 4 or 5 out of 10 chance to win. Very average chance. Like, it's not a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. I think there's a bit more leading Pantoja. I think the odds would be somewhere around, like, minus 160, minus 180 for Pantoja if that fight took place. But yeah, I would probably pick Pantoja to win. Let's move on, though, to the Bantamweight division. Bantamweight Merab Dvalishvili is the next up for the Bantamweight title, and he is fighting this weekend against Sean O'Malley. I've already given my full card predictions. I think he's going to get fucking KO'd, or at least finished within 2 rounds, probably around the start of the second. I think it's going to look similar to the Aljo fight. Going to be a whole bunch of nothing for a little bit, feeling out process. O'Malley's going to get the timing down, maybe wobble him a little bit early. Merab might recover, and then the next time he wobbles him, it's going to be like a case of, oh, we've already seen this guy get wobbled. We don't need to let him keep going, and I think it might be like a somewhat early stoppage, or he could just get fucking face planted and KO'd. But yeah, I don't trust Merab to be able to just, I think, in my opinion, he needs to execute pretty much a perfect game plan and avoid getting hit clean for the entire fight. He just has to do what he did against Peter Yan, which I don't think he's going to be able to do because I think O'Malley has better movement than Yan. I think he's got better range control than Yan, especially against the grappler. We saw Yan's also a slow starter. O'Malley's not as much of a slow starter. O'Malley can go out there and just go from bell one. Yan can too, but he doesn't really ever do it. He drops rounds, and I originally thought Merab was going to win the first 2 against Yan. Yan was going to win the last 3. In hindsight, that was kind of a dumb prediction because Merab just keeps momentum and he gets more of it as the fight goes on. So yeah, I do think O'Malley's going to win. I do think he's going to win by TKO, and he's going to win before Merab actually starts getting momentum. So there's not even going to be a situation of like, oh, Merab was doing pretty good until he got caught. I think it's going to just be like a feeling out process in round 1, and then he's going to get fucking slept. I give him like a 6 out of 10 chance to win. He definitely could, because there's a clear path if he gets a hold of O'Malley and just holds him for a round and just keeps making him work to get back up. That is going to be tiring for O'Malley, and I do think Merab can push that higher pace. But I do think O'Malley's going to KO him. So yeah, I'm picking O'Malley by KO. But Merab definitely could get it done. Let's move on, though, to the featherweight division. Maximus Holloway. I'm thinking he's going to lose to Ilia Topuria. I'm pretty confident in this prediction. Now, look, Holloway could show up better than fucking ever against his, in my opinion, best opponent, or most dangerous opponent, I would say, more accurately. And, like, it's hard to say because Holloway's fucking fought Jose Aldo, he's fought Volkanovski, he's fought the best of the best. But I think Ilia's just different right now. He's 26 or 27, he's in his prime, or coming up, not even in his prime. I think Holloway, it's not like he's on the downhill. We saw him look amazing against Gaethje, but in hindsight, it's a very good matchup for him. Gaethje's very fucking sloppy, he's not technical, his defense sucks, and Holloway was just way quicker and was able to kind of dance rings around him. Ilia's not going to be way slower than him, he's not going to be struggling to fucking land his shots. I think his boxing's better than Holloway's, to be honest, and I think people that disagree with that don't realise that Holloway got outboxed by Volkanovski for 5 rounds in the trilogy 50-45. But yeah, I think Ilia's going to win. Look, maybe he gets it done by TKO, maybe it's by a clearer decision, maybe like a 49-46 decision. Holloway maybe wins the 5th or the 4th or something, looks like he's going to get a bit of momentum, and then Ilia kind of shuts it down. But yeah, I think Ilia's going to win. I give Holloway like a 6 out. I would say I'm more confident that Merab can beat O'Malley than I am Holloway can beat Ilia, in my opinion. Just because I think there's a way clearer game plan for Merab to win. But like, I don't think Holloway's going to outstrike Ilia, and he's not going to out-grapple him. So I just don't see how he really wins, to be honest. But let's move on to the lightweight division. Next up, Arman Sarukian. Now, this is probably one of the more confident picks. I'm not picking Arman to beat Islam, but in terms of like, do I think he has a better chance? I think he has a better chance than Holloway to beat Ilia, in my opinion. I think he's got a better chance than Asakura to beat Pantoja. Do I think he's got a better chance than Merab to beat O'Malley? Maybe, but I think it's weird because the way I see Merab O'Malley going, it's like it's either 50-45 Merab or a KO from O'Malley early. Well, the way I see Islam Arman going is it's going to be close regardless. So I think the outcome where Islam wins compared to when O'Malley wins is very different to like, Merab and Arman. Like, I think if Merab wins, it's going to be a fucking domination. He's going to have his way with the grappling. He's going to do what he wants. But if Arman wins, I think still regardless, it's 48-47. I think it's going to be like 48-47 Makhachev. Maybe we see a split decision. I think it's going to be a very close fight, and as such, it would be wrong of me to say that I don't think he's got a very good chance to win. So yeah, I think Arman, I'd give him like a 7 out of 10 chance. I think he's probably the hardest matchup stylistically for Islam. He can stuff his takedowns, and Arman's actually pretty fucking solid on the feet. I do just think, though, Islam's a little bit better everywhere. So, yeah, maybe like a 49-46, 48-47, and then maybe like a 48-47 for Arman. So, like a weird split scorecard where one judge scores at 3-2 for Arman, and one scores at like 4-1 for Islam, and everyone's like, what the fuck was that guy smoking? But this fight's going to take place like next year probably, just because Islam is injured. He's not going to fight this year. So yeah, I think Arman's going to win. Oh, sorry, I think Islam's going to win, but I think Arman, who is still not quite in his prime, he's still very young. I think he's 26, 27 as well. I think he's going to have a great showing for himself and give Islam the toughest fight of his career. Let's move on, though, to the welterweight division. Next up, Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think he's going to beat Belal. I give him like a 8 out of 9 out of 10 chance. 8 or 9 out of 10 chance, I should say, to win. I think it's a very difficult matchup for Belal. I don't think Belal's going to just impose his will and out-wrestle him. Maybe he could outbox him. Look, in hindsight, he looked pretty fucking solid in the striking against Leon, and Shavkat has looked quite open, but also, Shavkat's going to do better on the feet, because Belal's got no fucking power. He's not hurting Shavkat. We saw Shavkat take shots off Jeff Neal, and he was alright. So, I don't think it's, like, even if it stays on the feet the entire time and these two strike, even if Belal's doing a bit more, I think the shots just aren't going to look as effective, and Shavkat will be walking him down. And I don't think Belal's as effective on the back foot. I think we saw that. He got the Sean Brady TKO on the front foot. He put the pressure on him. And if Shavkat can just deny the forwards pressure of Belal and say, fuck you, I'm walking you back, I don't think Belal's going to have the same effect. He's already got pillow hands as it is. And if he's on the back foot, I don't think those pillow hands are going to be any different. I think they're going to be worse, to be honest. So yeah, I think Shavkat's got this one in the bag. Also, if he gets Belal down, we saw Leon took the back. Shavkat's got a great back take. He's got a great rear naked choke. He gets rear naked chokes from a lot of positions as well. He's able to flatten people out. He's able to get it even standing against Jeff Neal. So I think it's a lot more dangerous for Belal if he gets taken down, and I think Shavkat could have more success in the scrambles too. So yeah, I'm picking Shavkat to win when that fight does inevitably happen. If it's for some reason Usman versus Belal, which would make no sense, I would probably lean towards Belal, because at this stage Usman I think is a bit washed as well. But yeah, Shavkat, if he's next up at welterweight, I do think he wins the title. Let's move on though to the middleweight division. Next up, middleweight. Now this is the interesting one, because this is really the only division where we don't know who's next for the belt. Now, Sean Strickland is probably the leading option. He's the one guy that's had the word from Dana, like, yes, this guy's next fight will be for the belt. Maybe they go back on that, and maybe they fucking make him fight Nasruddin in a rematch. I'm not sure. But unless Hamzat goes out and just smokes Whitaker, I think, in which case that's a new matchup that's probably more appealing for the UFC to do. And then they could potentially get Strickland versus Hamzat, which I think is a big fight. So unless Hamzat makes it to the fight, which is one fucking difficult to confirm, if he will, and then performs impressively, I think Strickland should be up next. If Strickland's up next, I think he has another close fight with Dricus. I think it depends on the adjustments. This is not like hoping, this is not me trying to discredit Dricus. I do think Strickland has more improvements to make from that fight than Dricus does. I think Dricus' style is going to be the same every time. He's going to fight the same way pretty much against everyone, in my opinion. He's going to bum rush you. He's not that technical. He's strong. He's physical. He's got heart. He's got grit. He'll push a pace. But I think he's going to fight the same in a rematch against Strickland. Strickland, I think, can game plan better. He can use the teep more effectively. He can mix in more body kicks like Adesanya was having success with. More leg kicks, I think, is good. Keep that jab going. And I think he's got more options to improve upon than Dricus does from their first fight. And I already kind of think he won the first fight. No bias aside, I'm not even a massive Strickland fan. He's kind of pissing me off lately, but I do think he won the first fight 3-2. I think he won the first, third, and fifth. And I even thought there was an argument he won the second. But regardless, it was a close fight. Dricus is still a very fun champion, but I do think it's just hard to see Dricus be a fucking long-reigning champion. Like, I just can't see that happening. So yeah, if Strickland doesn't get it, I think Whitaker has a good chance in a rematch, just because, again, I think Whitaker is way more technically better than Dricus everywhere, but I think he just struggles when he's put under pressure. So that's why I could see Dricus just kind of hossing him around and being a bit too big, bit too physical. Hamzat, I think Dricus beats Hamzat. I think Hamzat wouldn't be able to sub him in the first, and I think if you don't get submitted by Hamzat in the first and you have decent striking and you have cardio, You can like until we saw Strickland against Dricus, I would have probably picked Hamzat even if he didn't finish him in the first, because I would have been like, oh yeah, but Dricus has no cardio either, so he'll gas and it'll just be sloppy for the next few rounds. Hamzat will probably win, but it's pretty clear now that Dricus' cardio is very good and he just fights past it. With his Hamzat, just doesn't look very good. Like Hamzat, when he doesn't look very good, he kind of gets jabbed up and schooled. Dricus kind of never looks good, but it still works for him. So I think Dricus would win by like later rounds TKO against Hamzat. So I would say I would give Strickland like a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I would give Whittaker like a 5 out of 10. I'd give Hamzat like a 4 out of 10 maybe. Yeah, that would be my predictions for the next title challenges at middleweight. But let's talk about the light heavyweight division. Next up, light heavyweight, Khalil Roundtree. Now, if I was talking about Magomed Ankalaev, who should be fighting for the belt next, then I would probably be saying it's a pretty 50-50 fight. It's close either way. But Khalil Roundtree, he's not that good, in my opinion. Who's he beat that's good? Like, no one. He beat Anthony Smith, who sucks, took him to the third. He beat, people are showing highlights of him KOing Carl Roberson with fucking body kicks and saying, look how good, look how vicious Roundtree is, man. But they're not showing the highlights of him robbing fucking Justin Jacoby, getting outstruck by Marcin Pachnio, getting KO'd by Johnny Walker, getting finished on the ground by Ion Cutelaba. Like, this guy is not very good unless he just levels up beyond belief and has a fucking Strickland Adesanya-esque performance, or just bum rushes Pereira and doesn't get KO'd. Like, if it was like a Roundtree versus like Jamal Hill or Roundtree versus Blachowicz or something. Not even Blachowicz, like Roundtree versus Hill, Roundtree versus fucking, I don't know, like even like an Izzy. Like someone who's not quite as good as counter-striking with the amount of power as Pereira has. I wouldn't mind his chance to just maybe bum rush him and catch him with something like Dricus did against Pereira. Or like Dricus did against Izzy, sorry. But against Pereira, who's just going to KO you if you rush in like a spastic, I do think that Roundtree's got a pretty low shot of winning. Let's talk about the heavyweight division, though. Finish it off with Jonathan Jones and Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic, the most fluent speaker of English in the world. Look, it's really funny because when Jones beat Gane, I took the casual take, and that when they said he wants to fight Stipe, I was like, yeah, Jones should be fucking minus 500. There's no chance Stipe beats him. I've been thinking, I low-key might pick Stipe. Like, watched the fight against Ngannou, and I was just like, yeah, there's no chance. And then I, realized and just thought logically for a second and used my brain as a human who has a brain, and was like, hang on, John Jones is not Francis Ngannou. He doesn't have power. He doesn't drop people ever. He's got mid-fucking striking, beyond belief, mid-striking, got outstruck by Reyes for 3 rounds. And his takedown game is good against undersized middleweights who are 40 at the time of fighting them. Now, Stipe is 42, but he's a heavyweight, he's a big boy, and the only big boy Jones has fought, apart from, I guess, Reyes and, Santos is pretty big. He almost lost to fucking both of them. Should have lost to Reyes. The only really, heavyweight-sized person he fought was Gane, who has the fucking takedown defense of Rebellis to Spain. I'm pretty sure I saw those two training wrestling defense together. It explains a lot. They sprawled and they got taken down by the sprawl. I don't know what they're doing. Well, they tried to sprawl. I don't think either of them can physically sprawl. Gane's awful. And I think that was Jones's I'm him moment. He came back, he had his little fucking celebration and he did well and he went off into the sunset for a bit. Well, not into the sunset, but he went off and was like, oh, I'm fighting Stipe, the old fighter. And no one was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, whatever, that's a cool fight. Legends fight. Then Pavlovich, a month later, fucking smoked Blades and we're like, okay, bro, we don't want to see Stipe. We want to see you fight this big, scary Russian who turned out to be kind of mid. But then Aspinall came in, beat Tybura, said that he's going to fight the winner of Gane vs. Spivak, then fight John Jones. And we're like, okay, cool. Aspinall's a threat. And then he fights Pavlovich and smokes. And we're like, okay, now this is the guy. Fight Aspinall. No one wants to see you fight Stipe. But Stipe, you got to remember, he beat DC twice, did well there. And I do think the only real way to beat Stipe, from my watching him fight, is be strong enough to stuff takedowns, don't get taken down by him first of all, like Ngannou did in the rematch, and then you gotta stop him on the feet. I don't think Jones is gonna just technically outstrike Stipe at range on the feet. He's probably gonna eye poke Stipe, because that's what he fucking does. Within 2 minutes, he's gonna eye poke him. Dana White's gonna be fucking jizzing under the table cage side, being like, that's my goat. And he's going to do that, but I think Stipe is a better boxer than him. Unless Stipe comes back and just looks completely awful, which is a very high chance of happening, so I'll probably end up being a coward and picking Stipe, or picking John Jones, because I just don't want to be laughed at. But I might pick Stipe, because it would be so funny after all the glaze that Dana White's been doing if Stipe goes out and then just finishes John Jones. It would be jokes. So yeah, Stipe is actually a fucking very good fighter. I'm doing a GOAT list soon. He's going to be pretty high up there. Stipe is always kind of underrated by a lot of guys. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Jones just... What's Jones doing? Is he taking down Stipe? Like, Stipe doesn't get taken down that much. Stipe's pretty big. He's pretty physical. Jones coming off the injury too. Maybe he fucking injures himself in the fight. Stipe could win. He could win. So yeah, that's my prediction. I might pick Stipe, I might pick Jones, but I think it's a pretty close fight. But that's the video done, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, do all that shit. Let me know in the comments if you agree or not with my takes. But yeah, peace out, guys. See you in the next one.